All right. Welcome back, fellow TFFL owners, to your weekly TFFL webcast. It is Wednesday, November 14th, 2018. We are heading into week 11 TFFL action. We'll be looking back at a big week 10, looking ahead to week 11. Down to 3 weeks to go in the regular season. We're starting to hit the second round of division battles. Some big games this week, big games ahead in weeks 12 and 13. They're going to settle division battles, settle wild card spots, and in some cases settle the battle for the number one overall pick. Let me get to a lot of the headlines. Again, a busy week 10, lots of action, lots of milestones. Jump right in here, guys, because there's a lot to talk about. I don't want to save all this for the panel discussion. Let's start with our weekly Boba Fats roundup, and this may take a while. They extend their unbeaten streak to 22 games. 22 games now, folks. Still undefeated in 2018 at 9-0-1. They've clinched a playoff berth. They have clinched the NOCO West Division title. They've clinched the NOCO Conference title. So congrats to Rob. $500, a bye in the first round, and still a chance to be the first team to go undefeated throughout the regular season. Well done. Aliens getting the Frams in week 11. We're the next team with a shot at knocking them down. Amsterdam Packers, 110 points in week 10. Went over the mark. AMPAC maybe rounding into shape a little bit. Hank's going to get to the standings in just a moment, but there has been a big shakeup in the TFFL playoff picture. It'll probably keep shaking up week in and week out here down the stretch. But if I'm correct, the Lizards now out of the playoff picture. The Dirt Devils dropping their fourth straight game, now out of the playoff picture. Aliens in as a wild card due to a tiebreaker over the Lizards. Mongols in as the division champ with tiebreakers over the Dirt Devils. Terry, well done.
Yeah. I'm surprised to be here, but let's go for it. Got the Devils this week, and it's a huge game. So I'm looking forward to it.
Our guest aside here, if Berto were here on the panel, the potential is there for all five of us on our panel to not be playoff teams. Read what you will into that. But Terry, Mongols and Aliens now in, and we'll see if we can hang the rest of the way. The AMPAC, we talked about their 110-point effort. They are now 2.5 games up in their division. Hank pretty much has it locked up, but if the K-Wheels go win 3 straight down the stretch and the AMPAC lose 3 straight, the K-Wheels can still sneak in. K-Wheels, unfortunately, though, 7 straight losses now. Probably more in the hunt for that number one overall pick than realistically being able to win the division. And it's suddenly a free-for-all for that number one overall pick. Chief and the Sponge Fisherman, Hank and the K-Wheels, Slippery Beavers, Jack's Giant Killers, all 4 of them very much in it, and I think there's at least one head-to-head matchup still to come.
I think with the Killers win last week, the Beavers right now would get the number one pick. Yeah.
And I think the K-Wheels play the Killers one more time, so
Yeah.
that sort that happens.
As do the Sponge.
There you go. Okay. Who are you playing?
Play Killers on week 13.
Okay, nice. And real quick, I don't want to dwell too much on my victory, but it's probably worth noting. Little guest appearance in the background there, Chief. Worth noting the 84-82, great game. Aliens beating the Slippery Beavers on the last play of the Eagles game on Sunday night. Great game, exciting game. I'm obviously thrilled with the outcome, but that's a great example of why fantasy football is so fun. Carson Wentz and the Eagles lose that game, and I don't care. I do not care. He did what he was supposed to for the Aliens. And God, that changed my Veterans Day off. I would have been, the Alien season might have been over. I would have been a wreck, but instead, yeah, I'm thrilled, and I'm going to ignore in a moment Chiefs naysaying about the Aliens playoff chances. But that was fun. A few quick injuries. Cooper Kupp done for the year. Boba Fett's a little bit of a dent there. Le'Veon Bell, we talked about him last week. Now not injured, but officially not playing this year. Worthless to the Slippery Beavers this year. Marvin Jones, Randall Cobb for the K-Wheels, the Aliens. Minor injuries that'll keep him out for a week or two. And that's about it on the injury front. Let me shut up here in just a minute. The last thing I wanted to bring up as a headline was the trade we had. Tyler Boyd being shipped out of the Sponge on Sunday morning. And Sponge fishermen getting a fair amount of grief for that. We have both parties to that trade here. You guys want to address that one real quick? Who pitched who on that? How did that come together?
Michael had asked me probably the day before, the afternoon before, Saturday afternoon, if I'd be interested in moving Boyd and what it would cost. And we talked, generally speaking, I said a high-ish pick. After that, I talked to, I think, 4 other teams on if they want them. And I chose just, I don't know what I chose. Well, I'll take that back. So next morning, Sunday morning, I talked to Michael again. And I said, what about a 4th? He said, how about a 4th in the next year, 2020? In the meantime, I had talked to, because we were texting. So in the lag time, I texted 4 of their owners, asked if they do Boyd for 4th. They all said they had no interest in adding a wide receiver. Again, he's not going to be kept for me. And, the market is what it is. You can't create a market. I'm not going to hold out for a 2nd-round pick or a 3rd-round pick if, I have one interested party, and even then kind of lukewarm at acquiring him. So, yeah, Michael made the first contact, and it wound up pretty quickly.
Yeah, I don't really have too much to add. I think it's much ado about nothing. I mean, that's kind of the, he's a number 2 receiver and a decent offense. I think that's about the going price for somebody like Boyd. He's having a good year, but look back in past trades. I don't think you see those types of guys going for much more than a. Maybe Chief could have tried to get me to go for a 3rd, but I don't know if I would have done that. I feel it was the right price for what Boyd is.
And I don't think the price is going to get higher. AJ Green's out with an injury right now.
Yeah,
the number 1 wide receiver for a week or 2. So and apparently Ralph got bored of riling Nick up. So I guess I'm the next team up on the list. But again, I really think the whole thing was way too much discussion about a fairly minor trade.
Yeah, I'd agree 100%.
So my issue wasn't really with the price, and Chief, my issue isn't with the fact that you probably do have 7 other guys who may be keeper worthy. I'm not knocking Matt Breida or anybody in this conversation. But I do think you're underselling Tyler Boyd's potential as a keeper and as a rebuilding team, giving away a guy who, I think if you look at his stats, is on pace for 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns. Kind of looks like Devontae Adams 2.0.
Yeah, but let's just back up like right there. What did Adams? I traded Adams for a 3rd-round pick in the offseason. So it's like,
I'm not quibbling with the price. I'm just saying Chiefs should be holding on to 23-year-old receivers who paid 1,200 yards.
There were better players available heading into keeper deadline day, including Tyler Boyd if I choose to pick him up again. But yeah, again, his value, I don't think. Yeah, he's playing great right now, which is why his value is high. He's never a guy who's been traded before. He's never played this well before. I think it's more anomaly than all of a sudden he's a breakout receiver. Maybe I'm wrong.
I hope you're wrong, Chief.
I'm already bored of this topic. We're talking about Tyler Boyd for a 4th-round draft pick. Who gives a shit? It's whatever. It's a Mike Nuts trade. Let's move on.
This year, next year, who cares?
All right. Panel introductions real quick. Terry, our commissioner.
Hello.
Director of the Steel City Mongols. The first place Steel City Mongols.
I like how that sounds.
Former commissioner, skipper of the Sponge Fishermen. Chief, welcome.
Thank you.
Hank, our IT director. Czar and CEO of the K-Wheels.
Good to be here.
Our special guest, Michael Giovenco from the Hormel Hams. Long-awaited appearance. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, as always.
You are just back from Vegas?
A week can change, yeah. Back from Vegas. A couple other places along the way, too.
And our other regular panelist, Berto, is obviously not here tonight. He's just back from Mexico and apparently brought back some sort of bacteria with him. So he's out there.
I hope he declared it a custom.
Okay,
Watching live.
Yep. Let's get to our TFFL trivia question. I've got a offbeat one here. I'm not quite sure how this popped into my head, but it's a little different. And I'm going to make it. We're gonna have you answer it twice. The first time I'm going to have you answer it right away in 10 seconds. I want your gut answer. The person who gets closest to the right answer will get 3 points. You can then take the rest of the show and do some math and put some more thought into this. And if you get the exact right answer at the end of the show, you can get another 3 points. Everybody can get that 3 points. Does that make sense? Speed round. Write down your answer. Be ready to go. I'm going to give you 10 seconds.
So it's a max 6 points?
Max 6 points. Everybody can get the 3 points at the back half if each of you get the exact right answer.
So we'll get 0, 3, or 6.
Yep. All right, including TFFL co-owners. And that's Connor. I'm including Matt Smith in this. I don't know if he's still technically part of the Hams, but he's listed as a co-owner, so I'm including him. Shively, Connor, Adam. I think I got Badass, including co-owners. How many offspring have TFFL owners fathered? 10 seconds. I don't think Michael's prepared with pen and paper. All right, what do you got?
All right, for the speed round, okay, here's my speed.
10.
12.
Chief, what is that, number 23? Michael? Speed round guess of, what is that, 25?
25.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, you can take your time now and try to figure out the exact right answer. I'll let you know later in the show.
Yeah, I was way late.
All right, Hank, TFFL standings. This is an especially critical edition of the standings graphics.
I hope so. We'll hope we got it right here. We can review as we go. All right. So the division leaders. So the Boba Fats 9-0-1, 22 weeks in a row, and as Stick mentioned, they also have clinched the Northern Conference title and the Northwest Division title. Senators, by virtue of their tiebreak over the Hams, sit at 6-3-1 and atop the South. Our mover is our commissioner, who is now leading his division due to the head-to-head with the Devils at 5-5. Congrats to Terry. Then the Impact now have a 2.5 game lead in the Northeastern Division at 5-4-1. So and it's already away. So here we go. In the middle, guys fighting. Hams are still in the top wild card position, 5-3-1. But then we have the Aliens, and I guess, Stick, you may have to do some clarity here between the Lizards and the Aliens in terms of how this record would break down. Because, you know, with the 5-3-1, it's fewer losses, less wins. I don't know how that works. You're head-to-head. Maybe it comes to that. I don't know. And so it's either the aliens or the lizards right now. And the Devils, but they've got 7 straight losses now. Or sorry, that's me. That's 7 straight. He has 4 straight. He has 4 straight losses now. I have the 7 straight losses because now we're fighting other battles here. We'll get to the bottom. Is the K-Wheels now at 7 straight losses? The Sponge Fishermen, they beat both the Killers and the Beavers, so they're going to be looking in unless they have the worst record by themselves to get the top pick. Killers, with their win last week, they beat the Beavers now. So let's see. They play the Sponge in week 13. See how that shakes out. It could be for something. And the Beavers right now lost to both the Sponge and the Killers. There we are. That they would hold the top pick today. However, the Beavers did beat the K-Wheels. So we'll see how that works out.
So as we were talking before the show, I think it's almost a lock that a team with 7.5 wins, or 7 wins and a tie, is going to miss the playoffs, and it's possible that the Lizards, could get to 8 wins, 8 and 5, and miss the playoffs with 8 wins. I think that would be the first time anybody with that many wins has ever missed the playoffs. But that's kind of how the league is shaking out this year. All right, Terry, commissioner's report.
Yeah, well, we're technically less than a week away from the trade deadline. So November 21st at 12 noon, the day before Thanksgiving, is this year's trade deadline. So if you got those negotiations going on, let's get them wrapped up. And just to clarify something we talked about last week, you can use FA picks during the playoffs. You have to have them. You have to take them into the playoffs with you. You don't get any extra picks, and you don't get to keep that player going forward. And that is all at this time.
I have to imagine there's a small market for a team like the K-Wheels with extra free agent picks to unload some of those to playoff-bound teams at the deadline.
I was just going to offer through my services that I do have a bevy of free agent picks, that if there are playoff aspiring teams who may want to acquire one, my office is open.
I also have one.
So come talk to me.
All right.
Public service.
Yeah. For what it's worth.
Probably like a 10th round, something like that. That's probably what it's worth.
Yeah, well, I'm reasonable. This is end of the draft kind of, flipping kind of stuff. We're not gonna, I'm not asking for your 3 or your 7 or your, let's talk like, a 10-11 swap or a 9-11 swap or a 10-13 swap or something like that. We'll work on something.
All right, Terry, a bonus question for you in my ongoing attempt to engage with you a little bit here. We've talked a little bit about your transition into the commissionership and what it has meant to you as an owner. I sensed when we started doing the webcast with you a little lack of enthusiasm, a little concern. I know the commissioner reports also take a chunk of time.
Yeah.
How has all this lived up to your expectations? How much time is it taking? How much does Adama say, what the fuck are you doing in the garage again, Terry?
I'll be honest with you. It's not too bad, but to sit here and tell you there's some days where you're like, this is a pain in the ass. I would rather not do it. Sure, that has happened. But all in all, being the commissioner hasn't been I had actually feared that it would be harder than it has been, and maybe it will become harder than it has been. But the commissionership thus far has not been too bad. But yeah, your sense was probably not far off. I didn't run into this with the greatest enthusiasm. I wasn't rah, but again, it hasn't been too bad.
Is it now Wednesday night, the highlight night of your week? I mean, let's be candid. You get to come, you get to hang out with your buds, talk football.
I equate this to the softball league I used to play in back in Northern Virginia when I lived down there. Every week when the game would come around, I would be like, fuck, why did I sign up to play softball? I don't want to go. And then I'd go to the game and I'd have a great time. And that's why I signed up for softball. So it's kind of like that.
Leave your house. You don't have to go anywhere. Just, dial in.
All right, let's get to our roundtable chat here. I've got a few topics teed up. We're going to start with our guest, the Hormel Hams, on the hot seat. Michael, I think when you've been here in the past, it has triggered a strong run for your franchise. So best wishes down the stretch.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. We don't want to jinx it.
Let me start with a fun, quick question. A timely question. We're just fresh off the Bro Bowl. Obviously, you lost that, but how much trash talk really goes on between you and Ralph during Bro Bowl week?
Not very much. There's not a lot of trash talk going on. It's pretty civil bro bowl game. There's not much at all really.
No hijinks like sneaking down to Cary, North Carolina, and kidnapping Ralphie.
Maybe next year. But no, it's another game.
Just
a little bit more energy. I'm sure Ralph is excited to put up 110 points on me, and he does have a winning record against me lifetime. So it is what it is. I can't trash talk too much back because he has the better record. He has the more pack bowls. So.
All right. You don't have a backup quarterback. What's your plan?
We'll see. There's a good chance that somebody on this panel will get a call for backup quarterback. There's not too much out there. I guess I've been looking a little bit. Maybe like somebody like there's always a free agent. I kind of looked at Joe Flacco, but I decided to wait on Flacco. There's no hurry. I don't think there's any kind of hurry to address it until my bye week comes, which is or Mahomes' bye week comes next week. So we'll kind of see. Well, Thornburg just is telling me that Prescott's available, so maybe it'll be Prescott. That's a possibility. But yeah, I don't know. I need somebody for 1 week. I'd love to get Drew Brees back, but I don't think that's going to happen.
And really, my question is, are you looking for somebody for 1 week, or are you looking to make sure you've got a strong backup for the playoffs? How much do you look to the free agent market, which is probably more of a 1 week solution versus trading for a stronger guy?
Yeah. I have a couple offers now, I think, actually. So all those things are kind of out there. I mean, ideally, of course, you'd love to get. I'd love to get a good, strong backup. If anything happens to Mahomes, then I'm covered. But I think my team is good, but we're not quite there yet to sort of spend a lot on a backup quarterback. So this team has kind of been Mahomes all year, with some help from Browns having a pretty good year, and some of the running backs have done pretty well. But I think I'm probably still a year away. I think I went into this year thinking I was at least a year away. So it'll be we'll see what some of these guys are looking for some backups.
I think we have to talk about the Patrick Mahomes, Drew Brees maneuver. Played out brilliantly for you. I think on the webcast
as planned.
Good. I mean, listen, on the webcast last year, I think I said Mahomes was a guy that I really liked. A lot of people were comparing him to Brett Favre, but he only played 1 game last year, and I was skeptical of you keeping him heading into this year. What did what made, was there did you see him in preseason? Did you see something that, convinced you that, it didn't convince me yet that he wasn't going to throw a ton of interceptions this year, that he was going to be this much of a stud right out of the gate?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of things. One, I started a new football service that was high on Mahomes. So they had him ranked as number 8 overall quarterback, which I kind of agreed with. I think another one, I didn't really pull this out of the draft, but I thought this was. I figured somebody would kind of question me at the draft, and if you look at who the keepers were for everybody, you had both of his wide receivers were being kept, plus his tight end was being kept. So you didn't see that there's another quarterback out there that had that three main receivers being kept. So obviously other people in the league thought Mahomes was going to have a pretty good year. I think that offense was great. If you see what Alex Smith did, Alex Smith was a top 10 quarterback. I think certainly it didn't take much to think that Mahomes was going to be a better quarterback than Alex Smith. Certainly Andy Reid did when they traded Smith. So and I think you also had a great combination of what you look for is that you have great players surrounding Mahomes, and then you also have a terrible defense. And I think it was pretty obvious going into the season that KC was going to have a pretty bad defense. He's going to have to score a lot of points, and I thought there would probably be a little bit more growing pains, but in the long term, I thought he was a pretty good bet. I think also that historically I've used some capital at the quarterback position. I've always tried to have a good quarterback, so I don't necessarily think the strategy of keeping 2 quarterbacks or using a second-round pick on a quarterback is a bad strategy. And this time it paid off. Other times, Jameis Winston didn't. Although Terry helped me out with taking Winston for something, but before that it was a second round draft pick on Sam Bradford. So. I think coaching has a lot to do with it, and Andy Reid has a great track record with quarterbacks and making fantasy stars. So I think I looked at all those things, and the other one was who did I drop? The guy that was coming off my roster was C.J. Anderson. So I felt it was time to move on from him. Much higher upside with Mahomes than Anderson.
Great job.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, I wanted to bring up one other topic, and then we'll let these guys ask some questions. We're going to give you a little biology lesson here, Michael.
All right.
Terry's going to.
I'll probably fail.
I want to talk a little bit about Dante Foreman. Aliens did not keep him. Obviously, very talented young running back, but Achilles injury late last year, on the PUP list to start this year. And here we are heading into week 11. He has just come off the PUP list. Who knows if he's even going to play at all this year? And if he does, it probably isn't until week 13 when you even have a chance to use him. I'm not here to criticize that. I just want to give you a biology lesson. And one of the big reasons I did not keep him was I knew this. I've played basketball with know about 5 people who have torn their Achilles playing basketball, including at least one who was playing with me when it happened.
Including one that's on the.
Terry is one of those 5.
Yeah.
Terry, how many times have you torn an Achilles tendon?
Twice. Well, I've torn each the right and the left.
Twice, really?
And one of the other 5 people I know happens to be my next door neighbor who just tore his last fall playing basketball. And he reminded me, and this was right before our keeper deadline. The doctor told him, Sylvester, if you go play basketball again, you're going to end up tearing the other one.
Yeah.
It happens.
Which NFL team's training staff was he under the care of?
It just happens. People who tear one Achilles will tear the other.
Yes.
One.
Biomechanics.
There you go. So there's your biology lesson. We'll see if Foreman. It doesn't mean Foreman can't have some great games or great seasons in between, but I think he's a very big injury risk again at some point. And and something's going on where he is. He was supposed to be maybe ready back at the start of the regular season. 3 months later, he's still not quite ready to come back.
Yeah. I mean, sort of somewhat disappointed that he hasn't been back sooner. But and thank you for the biology lesson. I'll keep that in mind next time I'm thinking about drafting a guy with a blown out Achilles. But I don't know. At that pick, I was thinking about somebody for the future and somebody who would, had some good value. I was between Foreman and Geis. I would have taken either one. I thought Foreman, with the possibility of being back this year, was the better pick. But I could have gone either way. But
and
I guess we'll see what happens. He's back practicing. There's nobody in front of him that's all that interesting. If you ask me, Blue's never done anything, and Miller's expensive, and he hasn't really done too much either. So, we'll see.
It's an anatomy lesson, not a biology lesson.
No, thank you.
And there's our English lesson as well.
The Texans are rumored to be one of the teams I heard that may offer a contract to Le'Veon Bell.
Right.
I guess maybe that depends on Foreman a little bit, if he can come back this year or not.
Yeah, other questions for the Hormel Hams?
Well, one I was thinking of that just popped into my head when you were asking him what sold him on Mahomes, and I wanted to blurt out, did you watch a lot of Texas Tech games? Because that would have been the only time you've seen him. He played one game, but again, to Michael's point, if the Chiefs are going to trade Alex Smith and they're going to go with Mahomes, and he has that talent, and he's young, and anytime they say someone has an arm that reminds them of John Elway, it's probably a good idea to keep him.
Yeah, I'd say the one thing I left off about that was, he did have a preseason. He had a pretty good preseason, and he had that one throw to Tyreek Hill, which went 65 yards in the air, which is incredible. It was an incredible throw.
Yeah.
If you saw that clip, I think it was either in the second or third preseason game. So, that was another one to watch, and my football service was all over that one.
Well, Michael, I never had a problem with Mahomes, and I like it. I'm glad that worked out, and I too have no problem keeping the 7 best players on your roster, regardless if 2 of them are quarterbacks. Those 2 are clearly the best, and you did a good job getting some value. How are you feeling? As you kind of get into the division games here, you I guess trail the Sens by the tie break. You got to beat them this time. How you feeling? Things are shaping up. I mean, this is kind of when you hope Dante Foreman might be there to give some running game punch. But what do you think right now?
I think I'm pretty deep. I actually don't. I don't really need Foreman. At this point, I have 4 pretty good running backs. They have to stay healthy. And it would help if they're a little bit more productive, like David Johnson, not having a great year. But I need some of my wide receivers to come through. I think I have a lot of depth and a lot of talent in my wide receiver position, but I need somebody to step up consistently besides Brown. Quarterback obviously is I'm in pretty good shape. We'll see. I think I'm feeling pretty good that I get a playoff spot. I think that obviously the game against the Senators, I think that's the last game of the year for both of us, is going to be that's probably for the division and almost definitely for the SoCo title. So that's a huge game, and I'm feeling a little bit. Kamara is still doing great, but with Ingram back, Ingram looks pretty good, and he's going to take a little bit of those touchdowns away from Kamara. Hopefully, knock on wood. Besides that, the Sens have a pretty solid team, but I think he's been really being carried by Kamara most of the year. So we'll see what happens. I think it'll probably go down to the wire in that game, that last game of the year is going to decide the SoCo. So if I win that one, still have some games in between. So there no easy games ever. I think this week we have the Sponge, and then the week after we have the K-Wheels, I think. And I think I actually have the worst. Head-to-head record against the K-Wheels.
Nice.
K-Wheels always bring it against me.
That's right. We're gonna bring it again, Michael.
Yeah.
This year those seem like easy games.
Yeah. I don't think either one, and certainly could easily lose one of those games. And but I think with where we are, we're tied. So if I drop one of those games, and the Sens go undefeated, they go 2-0. That's still a game that counts. So we'll see. I'm pretty excited. I didn't expect to be in contention for the SoCo title this year, so I'm pretty happy.
Well, you play your cards right, Michael. The K-Wheels just may be hoping to, not hope their best effort is on the field. We'll see how it goes.
All right.
Let's segue right out of that. If you have questions for Michael, we can track him later in the show. But you're talking about our next big topic here, which is who exactly is going to make the playoffs? Who is going to win those two SoCo division battles? Who are the two wildcard teams going to be? I asked you guys to look at the standings, to consider the tiebreakers, to really look at the implications of all the teams that have ties in their records and what that's going to mean for positioning. Look at the remaining schedules. And so that was your homework assignment. And again, we know the Boba Fats are going to win the NOCO conference crown. We know the Amsterdam Packers, in 98% likelihood, are going to win the other NOCO division. So tell me, and let's have Chief kick this off, because I know he did a little bit of last-minute homework and has some thoughts. Who are those two SoCo division winners? Who's the conference champ down there? Who are the two wildcard teams, and why?
Well, I don't want to get into. I didn't deep dive into this. I didn't look at individual matchups. If there's any buys left to be played after this week, any injuries, but just looking at the strengths of the team thus far in their upcoming schedule. I like the Hams for the SoCo West. I like the Devils for the SoCo East, and I think the Lizards and the Senators will be in the wild card, as I think they should be. And you look at when you look at the last 3 game stretch we have coming up here, we're entering this week, and so in those 2 division races, they're going to have 2 games in common, right? The Hams and Senators are both going to play, each other, who are basically equal, and a Sponge. So you look at what that 3rd game is, right? And so the Hams that was just talked about has the Wheels, whereas the Senators that week have the lost it.
They have the Packers,
right? So now Senators can easily beat the Packers, but I think the percentage of the Packers knocking off the Sens is much greater than, sorry, Phil, the Wheels knocking off the Hams, right? Similarly, you look at the other division race out there, and while they both have the Beavers in each other, right, the Dirt Devils have the Aliens, which is probably fairly level as far as the talent goes, and the Mongols have the Fats. I see no reason to bet against the Fats right now. So again, it's possible that both teams win out, or they beat their common opponents, and then it comes into that head-to-head contest. But I think if you're going with the odds, I think if Vegas was involved here, they'd probably call it just like I laid it out. And then similarly, I could go through the Liz versus Senators versus Aliens future schedule, and I think Aliens get shafted there too. I think they have a strong team left besides the Lizards and the Fats.
Yeah, Chief, I think it's got it right in terms of which teams are going to end up with the playoffs, and it's going to come down a lot to those head-to-head battles at the end, like the Sens and the Hams. That game on, I guess, week 13, we said it is. That's probably going to be for the South. I think both of those teams are going to make the playoffs, but that game will be big. Same with the Devils and the Mongols, perhaps, and that one might be for a playoff berth. I mean, if they stay on track, whether they both beat their odd opponent or they both lose their odd opponent, whatever, if they stay on track, they'll be playing for a playoff berth in their game.
That game is this week.
That's this week, yeah.
Oh, great, yeah. So that game is huge. Whereas the aliens need some things to happen. The aliens need to get, figure the aliens and the lizards are both taking a loss to the Fats, and then whoever their odd opponent is, the aliens need to beat theirs, and they need the lizards to lose to theirs, because then when they're head to head, aliens are going to be able to catch up and pass the lizards, which I think is big. So a lot of this is going to be determined by head to head matchups in terms of who's really got the chance. But in the end, I think Chief probably had the teams right.
Yeah. I concur. Especially if you look at the aliens. I mean, the aliens have the Boba Fett's, lizards, and devils. Next three. That's about as tough as you could get.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they're going to have to win all those, or not the Fats. If they lose the Fats, they're going to have to win the other two, and then. Who's the other team? Who the Lizards play in their off game?
The Beavers.
Right. So you figure they're going to win that. No offense, Thornburg. But yeah, it's. I think that's where the aliens run into trouble, is that odd opponent, and I don't know how the math works with the ties and the, but you guys do have a head to head, and that largely will determine who's going to get there.
Yeah,
but the aliens did win that head to head though.
The first time.
Yeah.
Got to do it again.
Here's the way I'm looking at it, and I'm buoyed a little bit again by the big win in Week 10. But first off, we're in the playoff picture right now, so people have got to come catch us. You guys are all down on the aliens, but we're in right now. I kind of figure we have 3 games remaining. We need to win 2 out of those 3, and I don't think it matters which 2 we win. I'm kind of counting on beating the Devils in Week 13, and with all due respect to the Devils, these guys have lost 4 straight. They're not in the playoffs right now. That's a team I'd like to think we should beat with the season on the line. Then I've got to get 1 out of the Boba Fats or the Lizards, and I think even if I lose to the Lizards and we beat the Fats, and we're 50-50 with the Fats right now, according to the site. We win 2 out of these 3 games. We can lose to the Lizards, and I still think we make the playoffs. And I'm counting on beating the Devils for 1 of those games and splitting with the Fats and the Lizards.
Good luck to you. I think that's a good goal. I think you should definitely be feeling that way as the GM of your franchise. Okay, write it down.
Terry, yeah, big game this week. I think you beat the Devils. I mean, you already have the 2 division record.
I have a win over the Devils already.
Right.
So we're tied, but I hold the tiebreaker. So if I can get this one this week, hold the tiebreaker and have a 1-game lead. So essentially, I'm 2 up with 2 to go. So this week is a huge game. It's the season. Because there's no wild card coming from our side, so this game is for the division.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing on this topic, I want you guys to take a quick peek at. Go to the standings on the site. We've been talking all season long about how the Senators and the Hormel Hams are having this great division battle. They're both 6-3-1 right now. We've acknowledged the Senators have the advantage with the head-to-head matchup, but let's say the Hams win their second game and draw even there. So now they're head-to-head, they're 1-1. It's very conceivable then that they would both have 2-1 or 3-1 division records. Look at the points for 719 and 706. I don't know how the tiebreaker, what the 3rd or 4th or 5th tiebreak might be here, but this one about as tight as it gets.
I think the second head is head-to-head points, right?
Head-to-head.
And how close was your game earlier in the year?
Yeah, head-to-head points, exactly.
Which I think we should really change, to be honest.
Senators won that first matchup by 18 points. Keep that in mind.
Yep.
All right. Berto usually would do our annual trade forecast. Unfortunately, he had to bow out tonight. I'm going to give you a quick abbreviated one. You guys can chime in. I went looking for 3 players I thought most likely would be traded by teams hoping to get something for veteran players now that they're out of the playoffs. And here are the 3 guys I identified. Lamar Miller for the Beavers, fresh off a couple of strong 100-yard games with touchdowns. Sponge Fishermen have obviously been active. Larry Fitzgerald feels like a guy who might bolster somebody's receiving core down the stretch. And my wild card here is the Dirt Devils. I think if they lose to the Mongols this week and fall to 5-6, behind in the tiebreaker, as Terry just described, and if you can get a hold of Nick as we approach Thanksgiving, I think you could maybe swing a trade for somebody like Adrian Peterson. Now, who do those players go to? And here's I'm not going to map this out to the extent Berto did, but I could see Adrian Peterson going to the Senators, who could certainly use some running back depth down the stretch. Go look at the Senators lineup, and they've got painfully few good running backs they can plug in. Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald's going to go back to the AMPAC, who could use a little receiving help and good karma with Fitzgerald back on their team. And Lamar Miller goes to the Steel City Mongols. Terry gives up Bill a call and adds to his running back core as he makes a push into the playoffs. What do you think?
I like those. I think those are all very realistic trades, and I think there's definitely some things that Terry would like about getting Lamar Miller. Thornburg is going to drive a hard bargain, though. He's tough to trade with.
Yeah.
So, loosen up.
I think that's probably going to take a number 1 pick or a 2+. And he's still a starting running back. He's probably a keeper consideration for the Beavers.
To go to a 1 or a 2, and it might be the right price. I don't know offhand what Miller's contract situation is with the Texans. Is he going to be on that team next year? Is he going to be on the open market? But I'd have to look at that. But
he will not. He will not be the starting running back for Houston next year.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, they'll bring in Bell, elevate Foreman if Foreman can step up, or they're going to draft somebody. That team is too good not to put a better playmaker back there.
The other team that could use a receiver is the Fats. With the loss of Kupp, and just in AJ Green's, whatever he's doing with his toe, I guess. They got some guys, but they might want another guy.
Yeah.
We've had those discussions, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good. Well,
yeah, keep in mind he's got 2 very good tight ends. He can only play 1 at a time, but he's got that flexibility.
Right.
I looked at
Kelsey's in, and maybe he plays Kelsey at receiver with Tate and Sanders, in the short term. That's fine. That's a good lineup. But if anybody gets dinged or something happens, it'd be nice to have somebody else there. I've got guys, Fats.
Just to address a point that was just made, Lamar Miller is under contract for 1 more year.
1 more year.
Texans, $5.5 million, very reasonable.
Reasonable.
Free agent in 2020.
$5.5 million is a lot for a running back.
Yeah, it is.
It's not. Yeah, Le'Veon Bell wants 14.8 if they're going to go there.
Steelers often 14.4 something like that. He wants more.
He wants 18 or 20.
Oh, he's never going to get that. So eventually he settles in the upper 14s, and if Houston's the team that wants to pay it, that's a lot more than Lamar Miller. I mean, that's triple almost.
Yeah.
He wants to be paid like a number 1 running back and a number 2 wide receiver, all rolled into one.
Nah, he needs to shut up and play football or just do something else.
And if he finds a team that's willing to play with 10 men on offense, so Lamar Bell can play both positions, I'll say he earns it.
Yeah, if he can do that.
All right, Terry, once again, I'm going to promise you, if the Mongols can go win this week and get to a winning record, we're going to spend some time talking about the Mongols next week.
All right. Maybe my attitude will be better.
There you go.
Maybe a trivia question.
We've talked about the Sponge. We talked a little bit about the Aliens. So we don't need to dive into another franchise here tonight. We still have a few things to talk about, though. So let's start wrapping up. Let me give you your trivia answer to our offbeat question of the week. Let's first take your speed answer. Who had 25?
Yeah, I think Michael was right.
I think the answer is 21.
I counted 26. Again, including all co-owners.
Now here's now I might be wrong. I'm not sure.
Here's Connor. I told you I Connor.
When you asked the question, you said how many children have been fathered by TFFL owners?
No, knowing we don't need any secret admissions here, but yeah.
So, to my knowledge, right, Greg has a stepson.
I counted Kyle.
I did not mean, and I'm not trying to exclude anybody, but I defined it as fathered, so I did not count Kyle in the count.
Okay, you still got 26.
So I have 26, I believe, is the answer.
Yeah. I got 25.
I think I got 25.
Michael, what did you get?
I stuck with 25.
You know what's interesting? By my count, the Penn Staters have none.
I got 25. Jive has one.
Jive has one.
The other three Penn Staters. Something in the drinking water up there.
All right, let's do this. Kramer has 3. Michael has 0. Smithers has 2, 3. Terry has 0.
Wait,
what?
Smithers has
3?
Smithers has 2.
Okay.
Nick has 3.
Yes.
TR 0. Badass 0.
Yeah.
Bill 0. Shively 1.
Uno. Yeah.
Chief 2.
Yeah.
Hank with 2. Berto with 2. Ralph with 2. Bork with 2. Adam with 2. Stick with 0. Connor with 3.
Yep.
Fats with 1.
Mm-hmm.
That's
the numbers, but I count that added up to 25 for me.
25.
Fats has 2 now, right?
Fats wait, does he have? Is that born now?
He already fathered it.
I don't know.
I forgot about the one. I don't know if it's been born or not, but I forgot it was even expected.
I may be jumping the gun on that. I thought he had a newborn.
I thought it was just pregnant, not yet.
All right. But this is what the webcast does. Is it fills us in. We'll have
I think pregnant does not count.
Pregnant does not count. So I count 25. So then with a 26.
25 gets the 3 points as well.
25.
Michael gets 6 points. Phil and
Yes.
Yeah. It's a little scary to think how many TFFL offspring there are.
That's
I can't believe
6 guys.
Hank, what did you have for your initial guess? 10?
I had 12. That's way low.
It's averaging 1 per.
Yeah, I just quickly thinking, I don't know, 12.
That's why we did the speed round, and yeah, I figured you could get it if you really put your mind to it.
Yeah, I missed Connor. I wasn't thinking about him.
Connor,
yeah, I came up with 22, and that's where I missed.
There you go.
I'm padding the visitor score here.
All right, the guest now rockets up with 7.
Oh,
wow.
Berto's
Got to be here for the right night, I guess. Okay, so now the update. Who else got points tonight?
You and Chief got 3.
Right. Chief gets 3. Hank gets 3. Hero gets 6. None. Berto gets none. All right. Oh, updated standings up to the minute. We got Chief in first place, holding on with 13. Hank in second with 11. The guest is now in third with 7. Hero with 6 and Berto with 3.
Wow.
All right. We're going to need more multi-parters, but that was a good one, Stick. I like that trivia question. That was fun.
That was a good one.
You're going to count dogs next time.
Yeah, we'll count. Yeah, we'll do pets.
Don't do pets.
If you said male or female, it would have been a lot harder.
Terry, week 11 schedule, and I think I know what the game of the week is. But
yes, you can probably guess. But we'll start. We have the Wheels playing the Killers as they're jockeying for that number 1 pick. You have the Packers versus the Sens. Beavers against the Lizards. The Hams against the Sponge. The Aliens are the next team to try to knock off the Fats. And what we say, 22 in a row. And then the game of the week, essentially for a playoff berth, Mongols versus Devils. I like being the game of the week. I'll try to do it again. The following week, I play the Fats. So when Gurley and Goff are on a bye, so maybe I can catch a couple of breaks here.
It looks like both of your teams are a little dinged up by buys this week. You're missing Kenyon Drake, Frank Gore, Robbie Anderson, Jarvis Landry. Nick and the Devils are missing James White, Duke Johnson, Kenny Stills, and George Kittle. He's been playing.
Yeah.
Not crushing blows, but testing your depth a little bit.
Yeah, I think according to the site, the Devils are a 4 or 5 point favorite, which sounds about right. So it's definitely within the margin of error. So let's go get them. You know, truth be told, if I don't get 25 to 30 points out of Drew Brees, I don't have a shot. So, you know, let's go, Drew. Yeah. Like I said, I think last week in the commissioner report, I finally went off on my little rant, and I think he's averaged 30 points a game since then. So it may become a weekly rant that I bitch about Drew Brees. So
let's hear it.
Well, only in print.
No, and you're right. 28 points in your win against the Lizards when you had 70 total. Week before that,
32 out of 52.
Yeah, you beat the Aliens with 52 points. So yeah, he is carrying you right now. And the Devils on the computer at least have a fuller lineup with guys like Connor and Diggs, and so I think they've got to be the favorites here. But if Drew Brees goes and puts up 30 points, you got a shot.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I'm still alive. Week 11.
Yep.
I'm happy about that. Makes it fun. And
Brees is doing what you wanted him to do when you went out and traded for him.
Yeah, that's why you make that trade.
Yep.
And I didn't want to be in that position, so I'm glad Michael kept both Mahomes and Brees, so I could make that trade. But yeah, I was crestfallen when Garoppolo went down. So Brees saved the season.
I was happy to help. Happy to help the Mongols.
Yeah, we were happy to be helped.
Any other outlooks on this game, guys?
I think it's awesome when the Mongols are relevant, and I think that they are. And this is a fun game for them. Yeah. Brees needs to blow up, and if Brees blows up and Freeman is back and carrying the ball and Barber keeps carrying the ball for Tampa, the Mongols are legit. They are. I don't think Cousins is going to go off in Chicago, so I don't see a 4-touchdown performance coming out of Cousins. I would love to see it as a Vikings fan, but I don't think that's going to happen. Nothing else in the Devils lineup scares me right now. Connor's going to be good, But good luck.
A big loss. Yeah, and my initial thought, Hank, was the same as yours. Is what are the odds there's going to be a Devils Mongols game of the week in Week 11? Those are some pretty tall odds. But yeah, Brees is playing at home, and he's pretty freaking awesome in the Dome. So I think the 5-point spread is probably about right, but I like the Mongols to cover here.
There we go.
I think the Mongols are going to go with it.
So,
all right.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic.
Good.
And for the most part, this game will be wrapped up early on, by almost by the end of Sunday afternoon. I think Allen Robinson plays Sunday night, and Allen Robinson versus Stephon Diggs on Sunday night, and then you got the Rams defense Monday night. That'll be the only thing on Monday night. All right, good luck, Terry. Good luck.
Thank you.
Mexico could have been a shutout.
Hey, next Wednesday is Thanksgiving Eve. I don't know if we're all going to be available then. So just we'll talk that out offline. But warning our listeners, maybe we'll be on Tuesday night next week.
There will be a webcast. There will be a webcast.
We will get together next week. We will have lots to talk about. Looking forward to a holiday week. Hope you guys all are. And looking forward to Week 11 action. Everything is super important right now. Lots of big games. Terry and Nick, of course, playoff spot on the line already in Week 11, pretty much. But for teams in the hunt, you lose games right now, and yeah, you're going to fall out of the playoff picture in a hurry. Win games, and you can get right back in it. But we're running out of time. So good luck to everybody. Good luck, Hank and Chief, in your pursuit of draft picks, higher draft picks. Michael, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, good luck. Hopefully.
And just to clarify, trade deadline is Wednesday, right?
Wednesday.
Okay.
At
what time? At noon?
Wednesday at noon.
All right. All right, I'll talk to you soon, Hank.
I'm around, Michael. You know where to find me. I'm open.
TFFL Webcast, making things happen. All right,
That's
good
right.
luck, everybody. Take care. Happy Thanksgiving for those out there. If I don't see you before the break, the holiday, but we'll be back on Tuesday or Wednesday next week.
All right.
Happy week, everybody.
Good night.